Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff. Here to provide you with another update for this month on what's happening here at City Hall and throughout the city of Oswego. It's been a busy 30 days this month. We started with the Oswego Lighthouse ribbon cutting. Assemblyman Barkley, it's been widely covered, Assemblyman Barkley allocated $100,000 for repair work and restoration work at the lighthouse. The city allocated $70,000 in the form of grant money to supplement Assemblyman Barkley's funds. And then we also used some city money to even allow more work to be done at the lighthouse. So the lighthouse has had the roof sealed and painted, the exterior's been painted. They also did some structural work to the concrete platform and to the windows of the lighthouse as well. So we had an official ribbon cutting on September 25th, where we had the assemblyman down at the yacht club and all the volunteers, and recognize the volunteers who have worked so hard to restore the lighthouse and offer public tours. That work will continue because despite all of this grant money, more work needs to be done, but we were at least able to improve the visual appeal of the exterior of the lighthouse. Most Oswego residents know the lighthouse is very iconic to the Oswego community, very symbolic. It's a tool we use for promotion and tourism. So it's important to make sure that the entryway into our community from the water and the lighthouse is visually appealing to all the boaters that enter the Oswego Harbor. So finally, it's restored to good condition, and we'll greet the folks traveling in from Lake Ontario the way they should be greeted, with this iconic Oswego landmark looking the way it should. So that was a fun event. It's a great accomplishment to have the lighthouse restored, and we will start the public tours back out to the lighthouse again in the spring when the weather lifts in spring 2019. We also did another ribbon cutting. It was the ribbon cutting for the new Kingsford Park playground. Pretty neat story behind this playground. Back when I first took office in 2016, all these second grade classrooms from Kingsford Park, I took a field trip to City Hall to lobby and advocate for a new playground at Kingsford Park School. The existing playground at that time was becoming unsafe. It was worn, it was old, there were parts breaking off of it. So the students noted all of those issues, came down to City Hall, lobbied me, and I pledged to do something about the playground. In the 2017 budget, we allocated $40,000 to replace that playground, in addition to some funds that were raised by the organization at Kingsford Park. And just over this summer, the last few weeks, some volunteers installed the new playground. The DPW assisted with those, with the installation. And last week we had that ribbon cutting and had the now fourth graders, 2 years later, come down to City Hall, or come down to the playground and help cut the ribbon with a ceremony, and they had a great time. So that was quite an achievement for those students, and I hope that it shows the students that if you get involved, even with the small issues, and get involved with local government, you can affect change and make a difference. And because they did that and took initiative and came down and lobbied city officials, they now have a new playground that we're proud of. Another accomplishment this past month has been the installation of the first municipal electric car charger in the city of Oswego. It's part of our initiative to become a clean energy community. We are taking several different steps to get that designation, and the car charging station is part of one of those steps. The charging station is free. It's open 24/7. All you have to do is pull into the 2 spots in front of the charging station here outside of Oswego City Hall and plug in, and you'll be able to charge your electric car. Along the same lines, we also installed 4 handicap wheelchair and scooter chargers. So a lot of folks with disabilities in the Oswego community rely on motorized scooter or wheelchairs to go about the community. And as we try to offer more events, more concerts at the summer concert series, the farmers market, events at the pavilion, the new Harbor Trail, and the overlooks at Brightbeck Park, we want to make sure that if folks who rely on that equipment to move about the city have an opportunity to charge that stations, and they don't have to worry about, have the anxiety of getting over to Brightbeck Park, exploring Brightbeck Park. Do I have enough juice to get back? So it's a special initiative as we make decisions. We've done the 104 improvement work along the crosswalks to make 104 more accessible to those with disabilities. So it's part of this is just decision making that we have to keep everybody in mind when we make decisions. And I think this initiative was quite an easy initiative, to be honest, to just make sure that we are including everybody in this community, and that folks who rely on this equipment can move around without being worried about getting back home in time before their battery runs out. So I'm proud of that initiative and look forward to doing more work on behalf of those with disabilities in the community in the future. The last item I'll talk about briefly is an item brought forth by Third Ward Councilor Kevin Hill. He introduced a piece of legislation that I think will be beneficial to city residents in the future. Last Monday night at committee, he introduced what he is calling the social host law. And over the past few weeks, we've seen an increase in large parties taking place mainly on the west side of the city in the 1st and 3rd wards. And it's not an issue directly related to college students. I don't think it's an issue directly related to rental properties. I think it's quite a broad issue that's happening throughout the community, but mainly in the 1st and 3rd wards. And what this law does is we found, after responding to several house parties over the last few weeks, for instance, one party actually had 200 kids in one home where there was a large party going on and disrupting the entire neighborhood. We found a lot of these parties revolve around alcohol being sold or an entry fee being charged at the door for these guests who come into the house, and that's how a large party becomes established. So what this law does is holds the person who is selling the alcohol to minors accountable, no matter what the circumstance. If they are there, they will be held accountable. And we believe that this law will actually help police better enforce these large parties and break up these large parties, hopefully discourage them from happening to begin with. But we think it'll cut down on the amount of large and frequent disturbances in the neighborhoods. These parties get together, they're allowed when they're happening, but even then, even when the party breaks up, the guests leave the house, they create disruptions throughout the entire neighborhood. So if we can stop that large party from occurring in the first place, we think we can help mitigate some of the effects that affect our neighbors in some of our neighborhoods, in some of the spin-off effects that happen from these large parties. So I believe that's a good law. The council is considering the law now, and they'll be bringing it forward at another council meeting to approve it. We're also talking about parking. The Common Council, right now the parking ban is the policy the city has starting on December 1st. They are talking about expanding the permitting process to accommodate another car to be allowed to park on the street if it's an owner-occupied home and if they do not have enough parking in the driveway. So that is a topic that they're discussing, and going along with that legislation is a separate piece of legislation that I introduced. And what this legislation says is we're going to completely outlaw the paving of front lawns. So if you drive around the community now, you can see mainly rental properties where, in order to accommodate more tenants, they have literally torn up grass in front of the property and put blacktop down in front. And if you look at a neighborhood, that is exactly what we do not want to do. We want to encourage tree-lined streets with nice lawns and homes that are well kept. We do not want to see, as you drive down a neighborhood, literally mini parking lots in front of each and every house. My second point is, quite frankly, landlords have been able to walk into City Hall and just about get anything they want over the last 30, 40 years in this city. So if they haven't already paved a front lawn, and they've gone all this time without paving a front lawn, and it's now 2018, they probably do not have the real need. They're doing it more out of convenience at this point. So right now they make a request to the city for public space or a request to the common council to get permission to use that public space to pave. And that just introduces favors and politics and arbitrary decision making into the process. So I say let's take all of that out, just totally ban one's ability to pave their front lawn. There's no reason for it, especially if the common council wants to offer another parking space on the road, then there's really no reason for it. And we can continue our neighborhood momentum and our improvements, improving the aesthetic appeal of our neighborhoods by just not allowing many parking lots to be paved, but in front of residential homes in the heart of our neighborhood. So as you can tell, it's been a pretty busy month here, but I believe they're all good improvements taking place, and I look forward to continuing our momentum, sustaining our momentum over the next month. I will stop there and get to a few questions that have been submitted. The first one talks about we are redoing State Route 104, which we are, and it seems like they're jumping all over the place. Why are they doing that, and when will it be done? So what happened is usually they'll go through and just tear up and repave the top layer of pavement and call that a complete repave. What we're doing along State Route 104 is if there's areas of the road where actually the binder underneath the blacktop has been damaged, which because it's been so long since it's been paved and it sees so much traffic, some of those areas, the actual binder has been damaged. We are going through, tearing up the binder and replacing that, and that takes additional time. So we're going through and doing those areas that need that extra work, getting that done, and then we will come through and cruise down 104 and pave the rest of the way. That's actually what they're doing now. And they're making some fast progress, and we should be buttoning that up in the next week or so. Why did it take so long to lay new water pipes and connect fire hydrants on Route 48? So Route 48 was work related to the road collapse. We're also working to improve the water pressure up in that area, and a lot of the work up there was related to funding that we were waiting for from the state and federal government, and that really was the holdup. We are still waiting to pave the remaining section of Route 48. We're just waiting for the funding to go through the common council to get that done. And then the last question, a local law was passed some time ago about police presence at a rental unit. So I believe this person's referring to the point system. We don't use that anymore because it was largely ineffective, and it would literally take several calls over an extended period of time to rack up enough points to revoke the rental permit. We would never even get to that point. So rather than do that, we did away with that system, which was not effective. And that's why we have code enforcement now. We have the police department and code enforcement talking to one another and communicating, which they've never done before. And that's why when we have those frequent violators in the homes that consistently need attention from the police or code enforcement, those two departments talk to each other. We keep it in our software called Municity. So we really just build one file and present that file and really can clearly demonstrate how problematic any given property is. So we did away with the official point system, but now with those two departments working together, we're more effective in bringing these landlords and tenants into compliance and holding them accountable in court. So that's the full report from this month at City Hall, and I look forward to talking with you next month. Thank you.